In 1959, Callas met Aristotle Onassis. Both were famous in their worlds and held immediate fascination for each other. Onassis invited Callas and her husband to join him on a cruise on his yacht, the Christina, with Winston Churchill. At first, the press concentrated on Churchill, but by the time the cruise ended, it was Callas and Onassis who were news. 2 months later, she left her husband. The liaison with Onassis added to Callas' growing notoriety. Reporters began pursuing her with an intensity usually reserved for movie stars.
I'm giving no interview.
The only reason
Why did you cut short your trip?
Please.
Are you going to marry Mr.
I said don't. I'm not answering any interview. Now stop it.
Are you glad to be back in New York? That's an uncontroversial question.
Well, I'm happy I'm not staying more, if that's what you mean.
Why is that?
Why not?
Because we're bothering?
Because I'm leaving, my God. Use your mind a bit. If
When are you going to sing in the Met again?
I hope soon.
You do hope to come back to the Met?
No, not this season.
Well, you and Mr. Bing haven't making up.
Yes, we have.
You made up with Mr. Bing?
No more fights. I'm sorry for you.
And you expect to sing next season?
We don't know yet.
What are you hoping to sing?
I can't say anything else.
Do you hope this trip in Italy will end this romantic squabble that everyone's been predicting?
This is no romantic squabble. It's a separation. That's all.
The separation hearings in Italy between Callas and Meneghini ended their marriage. Onassis was a side of life she had never known before. Maria, you see, developed this crazy ambition of becoming a great lady of cafe society. But perhaps you have to go back to her difficult childhood and their dominating mother to understand this better. But though their relationship was important to her as a woman, it was disastrous to her as an artist.
Her life was dedicated to the music, to the theater, like a priest in the religion. And this was continued to the moment in which the door of the high society became open for her. And there, in this moment, of course, the temptation for her was very hard because sure was a sentimental problem, but also the possibility for, in a moment of her life, to live a human life. And of course, this was the moment in which she decided. But this was the moment also in which the great Maria Callas started to have difficulties.
Obviously, in her golden period, Maria was happy with the type of life that she was living, which was a little bit the Vestal Virgin, wasn't it, of art. You know, it was not an exciting marriage that she had there. But it was a marriage that gave her a security, and it gave her an appui, it gave her a friendly person nearby, and it gave her all of the understanding for her career. And so that there was the dissolution of her marriage, there was her new liaison with a completely different type of life. This wonderful mechanism, this wonderful balance, this machine, little clogs didn't work anymore, and we lost that perfection.
Though Onassis was intrigued by the woman and her celebrity, the musician in her meant absolutely nothing to him. And at this point in her career, Maria needed someone to give her confidence. For the first few years in the 60s, her performances dwindled in number to half of what they had been. She did patch up her differences with Ghiringhelli and returned to La Scala for her final performances in Italy. She sang first Donizetti Spoliuto with Franco Corelli and then again Medea. but soon she was only appearing in concerts, and fewer of them as her vocal problems increased. Finally, after not singing in opera for 2 years, she returned to the stage as Tosca in my production in London at the Royal Opera House. I had been offered to produce Tosca several times in various opera houses, and I always refused for one simple reason, because I didn't think that there was a woman who could portray the character of Tosca the way I saw it, except Maria. But for many reasons, she was never available. And now, when Sir David Webster told me that he was trying to convince Callas to come back to the stage in its opera house in Tosca, I really jumped on the news and began to call Maria and put a siege on this woman, calling her all hours of night and day. Finally, one day she told me, come to Paris and talk to me about this project. So I went there, and the first thing I noticed were the long nails of her beautiful hands, and I realized that they were the nails of fingers who had never touched the keyboard of a piano for at least 2 years. And I told her that. I said, I'm very sorry, because obviously you haven't been practicing your voice. She said, how do you know it? I said, look at your fingernails. And then she realized, looked at them, and made a beautiful gesture with her hands, like a little girl, and she said, yes, you are right. But I've been distracted, I had other things to think about. I am trying to fulfill my life as a woman. But now I want to go back to the stage. Maria really gave a memorable, definitive interpretation of Tosca. She didn't play it as a prima donna approaching the character as another prima donna. She played it as a woman with all the marvelous human values that she could so vividly portray on stage. The tenderness, the weakness, the love, the violence, the jealousy, all the beautiful things that she as a Greek woman could find in her own authentic nature. We were very blessed in that production also for other elements. Mainly it was the participation of Tito Gobbi, who accepted the role of Scarpa.